Let's just move to this then. A police officer injured on the M25 amid climate protest which closed part of the motorway in Kent, Surrey, Essex and Hertfordshire. The police motorcyclist was hurt in a collision which also involved 2 lorries at a rolling roadblock. 2 people arrested for causing a public nuisance. The Just Stop Oil group, which is protesting for a 3rd day, said about 10 activists climbed and overhead gantries in multiple locations. Isn't it time somebody just said enough? Isn't it time somebody just stopped these people, dragged them off the gantries, threw them all in jail, and then we can move on? And if it happens again tomorrow, go back and do it another time. Norman Brennan, former cop, is with us. He's director of the Law and Order Foundation. What is going on here, Norman? We are seeing this day in, day out at the moment. The disruption is absolutely massive. There's been a handful of arrests, but clearly it's not enough.
Well, clearly not. I mean, I'll get straight to the point. We're dealing here, Ian, with moronic, arrogant, selfish, domestic terrorists, because this is what these individuals have become. They're holding hundreds of thousands of motorists to ransom. The government are not really listening any more than what they're listening to everyone else that's got serious problems. But it appears that this selfish lot have this right to hold the rest of us to ransom.
Yeah.
If all of us with issues, concerns, and we've all got issues and concerns, more so this day and age than any time probably since the Second World War II, and we all took to the streets and gantries and obstructed the roads and people's right of way and transport, public, both on trains and buses, etc., the country would be in true chaos. It would be anarchy. Yet these individuals, they go out and they know that they will get tens of millions of pounds worth of publicity for their cause. They're not stupid. And here we are talking about them.
Yeah.
What about all the other issues that are affecting tens of millions of us who don't take to the streets and don't obstruct our fellow citizens, but look to our MPs and other organisations to fight our causes?
This has got to stop, though, hasn't it? I mean, whatever the implications, there's got to... Is there... And I know strategically it's not as easy as just sending a load of police officers there and dragging people off gantries. That is in itself is quite a complicated process to do that safely, etc. No one wants anybody to die, even if they are royally annoying and an utter pain for all concerned. But you might think, Norman, that it's not beyond the wit of mankind to have what I suppose you might say a more robust way of dealing with these characters.
Well, to be quite honest with you, I do feel sorry for the police to a certain degree, because it's a bit like cat and mouse. There's only so many police officers available. Now, these individuals will be driving around the M25, which is, 50, 60 miles in circumference. And what they'll do is they will go out in carfuls, or 2 or 3 of them, full of people, and where there's no police about and where there's a free gantry, they'll drop them off. So it matters. Unless we had a police officer at every gantry, you could never catch the mice every single time.
Yeah.
But I come back to the point that the whole country now is sickened of these people. They're not getting sympathy from people. In fact, the anger is getting worse and worse. Every day they obstruct fellow citizens. And their fellow citizens are ones that have lost jobs, try to keep jobs to feed their family, that are facing rising bills right across the board, including their mortgages. These people are living dire lives, yet are fighting to keep jobs, fighting to pay their bills. And these selfish, arrogant, moronic, domestic terrorists, as I say, are holding this country to ransom. There has to be a court injunction which states that if you break this injunction, you will go to prison immediately and you will not be released for a minimum of 3 months. That means all these selfish, arrogant, moronic individuals will spend Christmas in prison thinking about all of those people that are fighting to try and provide their own families for Christmas themselves.
Yeah, that's a fair point. And of course, it's not just, I had a delivery meant to arrive this morning. It was late because of this. And, the oil protesters will go, we're not shedding any tears for the fact your kitchen was late. OK, fine, don't shed any tears for my kitchen, but shed some tears for the person that couldn't get to their own parents' funeral. Shed some tears for James Whale, who couldn't get to a cancer appointment. Shed tears for those that have doctor appointments for their children, etc. There are some really serious cases now, Norman, building up around this.
You've hit the nail on the head exactly. There are surgeons that were caught in those hold-ups. There are millions of people that have been suffering and waiting in pain for years for the National Health Service to catch up and give them their opportunity to have an operation that they have suffered in pain 24/7 for. Yet these surgeons, and there's been a number of them, I've seen them on social media saying, I'm caught in traffic. Today, I will not be able to carry out or perform a number of operations. As I say, we can't keep on having these interviews, Ian, and just keep talking about the same problems. It's pretty much about knife crime. I've talked about that for 30 years. And we've got a country now that are giving up on everything. They're giving up on the government, the criminal justice system. We've got nurses going out on strikes. We've got the ferry ports going out on strikes, the rail people going on strikes. A madness has taken over Britain. People in their tens of millions are sitting at home working and at weekends and have nothing to look forward to. And all they keep seeing day in and day out, instead of something positive, some light at the end of the tunnel, they see people complaining. Well, we've all got the right to complain, but we haven't got the right to act unlawfully and obstruct our motorways and highways and our public transport to the detriment of the rest of society. Because as I stated earlier, if we all took the same view, then there would be chaos on the streets, and that is anarchy. And that is where the strongest survive. And believe you me, these people up on the gantries and those whinging and whining in front of social media will not be one of the strongest. I can assure you on that.
Yeah, spot on. Norman, thank you. Norman Brennan, former cop.